Men of all colors are guilty. All of them. All of them.
There's something that I stumbled upon on my TikTok, and it's something called Passport Bros. And it's basically American men that are now going overseas to different countries, but they want the women that they're with to remain foreign.
What's your least favorite country?
Uganda. There was a real begging kind of culture out there.
Because a lot of women, when you speak to them, when they say, I don't like it when guys catcall me, when you break it down really,
Manosphere talking point.
and you ask them the question, what if it was, if you say something, what if it was Brad Pitt? What if it was Johnny Depp that hit on you? It's not creepy anymore.
All right. So now let's go ahead and get into the meat of this story. So this is Beyond the Talk. Beyond the Talk is basically a series where I find a TikTok that I'm intrigued by, and it's a glimmer of light into something that I feel like is worth exploring a little bit more. And so I want to go ahead and talk about Passport Bros and the men who travel for submissive wives. Now, before I jump into this, before I show you the TikTok, let's do a quick breakdown, okay? So today we're going to be looking at a variety of clips on YouTube, on TikTok. We'll be taking a look at some articles. We'll be taking a look at an interview with Thai people who are sharing their thoughts on expats. And we'll also be reading a story about the children who get left behind by the sex tourism industry. See who else is jumping in. Willem says, are you heartbroken, divorced, feel separated from your partner, or is she taken by someone from you, or even you? Do you want your ex back? Here. Oh my god, I can't believe it. That's that spam. Dr. Sambo spell home. I swear. Those bots. Oh my god, they're like spamming the thing. All right, whatever. All right, so let's go ahead and break this down real quick. So when it comes to Passport Bros, I have been watching, hours and hours of footage, listening to expat bros, listening to their fucking podcasts. And look, the mental assault that I put myself through to just hear them out. Gosh, you need to give me some kudos just for that, because it was bad. I mean, these guys are, for lack of a better term, they're just really dumb. And one of their main talking points is that they believe that American women are a huge problem. They are the central problem to everything that's been going on in their lives. And one of the things that they say is that American women are too masculine. Now, all these different men have different explanations for why they think American women are too masculine, whether it's that they don't want to listen to their man. But I think one of the biggest explanations is they don't feel like American women give them the control that they want. And I think that that's so fascinating that they're phrasing it in that way, because why do you want to be in a relationship where you need to control somebody? Like, as a married man, I just can't imagine talking about my wife like that. Like, oh yeah, I'm trying to control her. Like, it's so bizarre that a lot of them just feel like that is a natural part of the relationship experience, that we have to get to a point where you gotta let me have control. And I just keep thinking to myself, like, what do you need to have control over? What are you trying to do with that control? And so that is a rabbit hole in and of itself, and I'll go into some of the clips where some of these guys talk a little bit about that. Um, and they also say that American women are too feminist. That American women, um, they have boundaries that they don't want to cross. They don't want to. Essentially, they don't want the men who are trying to hit on them. They don't want them to just completely take over control. They don't want them to completely be aggressive in the relationship. They feel like there should be some 50-50. And a lot of these men on these podcasts will specifically say that, like, oh, American women want things to be 50-50. And I'm just like, bro, 50, oh my God, bro. It just, ooh, why do you want 75-25? I've been, I, my wife and I have been also watching, rewatching episodes of Mad Men, which is funny because it's like dudes in the 60s who are, horribly misogynistic, and they embody that whole "I control my wife" thing. And some of these dudes in Mad Men in the 60s, I'm watching them like, man, these sound like guys in the manosphere today. But again, a lot of it is a lot of this whole anti-feminist shit is men feeling like if women grab the reins too tightly in a relationship, then men won't be able to do what men do. And that, again, every one of these dudes has a different explanation for what they plan on doing in these once they have that control, but it's a giant red flag. They also say that a lot of American women are too demanding, that they want too much out of their man, that they want them to spend time, that they want them to spend money, that they want them to take them out. Um, and it almost makes me wonder, like, why so many guys have this, it's almost like an emotional and a financial ceiling to how much they're willing to put into a relationship. Like they, and I'm not trying to, I'm not talking about just like, oh, budgeting out and making sure that you don't burn out all your money just to impress someone that you're dating. I'm talking about men who like are stingy. Like, you're trying to make this person be a part of your life. You hopefully want to marry this person, but you're being stingy about like basic stuff. Like, you see this all the time in like 90 Day Fiance, guys complaining about, man, the girl that I'm dating, she's freeloading off of me. She's trying to take my money. Bro, you are making over $100,000. You're dating somebody in the Dominican Republic who you're literally saying lives in a shack, and she doesn't even have a fucking mattress, and you're calling her a freeloader because you're dating her now, and now she wants to. It's weird. It's very weird. It reminds me of pet owners who see their animals as like, well, you're an animal, you're a dog. I shouldn't have to spend a lot of money on you. You should get the cheapest dog food possible because I like the benefits of having a dog, but I don't want to pay for the dog. I don't want to treat the dog like it's a part of my family. And it's the viewing of these women as accessories, as almost as if it's like someone buying a knockoff brand. They get the emotional high off of having the brand, having the thing, but just not having to pay the price, not having to worry about the maintenance of it. And another thing that they say is that a lot of American women play too many games, um, which is weird because whenever these guys explain what types of games these are, it's usually like, oh, I'm trying to use my pickup artist tips and these women aren't falling for it. It's like, what? So they're not falling for your scams, and that means that they're playing too many games? I don't know. Weird flex. We got a couple comments over here. Uh, Shandy sent 200 stars. Thank you, thank you. Thank you so much, Shandy. I really appreciate that. Kunin says, there is spam in the comments. Please report and block William. Go ahead and try to do that. Kunin says, you're like the YouTube channel Pop Culture Detective. So I love what you both are doing. Awesome. I'm glad that you are loving the topics that we've been covering. DK says, hey, my brother. Hey, 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 what's up? Welcome back to the stream. Good to see you again. Erica said, her, quote, pick up your socks off the floor. Him, feminazi. Yeah, that's basically what a lot of these dudes amount to. Neela says 50-50 financially, but not in the home and relationship. Erica Dunlap says 50-50 1950s. Women are required to submit while going halfsies with her money. And Shani says, there are so many men that still speak and treat women that way. I am from a family like that. My brothers alienated me from the family for leaving an abusive relationship. Now I'm in a healthy relationship where my husband values me and I value him. It kills my family that I've been able to find happiness after tragedy. Yeah, I mean, someone's been asking, why I've been talking about this a lot. And, one of the reasons why is because I've been seeing this mentality, just these types of mentalities more and more, even in my own circle of friends and family. And I think once you see it in people that you know, it just brings that sense of immediacy a lot. It brings it home a lot faster. All right. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is damaged goods. So this is something that I made a post about before, but I think a central theme to a lot of these passport bros is this idea of damaged goods. That one, because of all the problems with American women, they're damaged. Like all of them have a problem. There's a sickness. It's almost like the factory that is producing American women. There's a factory defect, and all of them are invalidated, which is weird. It's like, bro, there's millions and millions of people in your countries. There's plenty of opportunities to date, and so I think it's so indicative of their personality type to just write all American women off. I can kind of sympathize when some people are like, "Oh, I don't want to date people from New York anymore because you live in New York and you've been dating around or whatever," right? At least you're not thinking that you need to completely uproot your entire life into another country just to solve this problem. Like you at least feel like, okay, maybe I can go to a different city or whatever. Like it's still meh, but and then there's this idea of damaged American men who they are the real victims of all of feminism. They are the real victims of women becoming too masculine. And it's almost as if they see the passport as they're wiping themselves clean of all of the past dating experiences that they had, their reputation in the United States. And so a lot of them feel like they need to go to these different countries to start a new life, really, to start a new identity and to start fresh. And so they see the solution to everything, to themselves and why they can't get women, why they aren't having sex, why they're unhappy, why they're lonely. They also see this as the solution and the antidote for there being too many feminist American women who are damaged. They put all of this stake into foreign women. And on top of just the problematic nature of seeing groups of women from different countries so uniformly, apart from that, it's just the projection for me. It's the projection that I've had bad dating experiences, So the women in this entire country, the millions of other women who are single, who I could potentially talk to, they're damaged, they're ruined. And it's like, bro, who who hurt you, man? Who hurt you, dude? I mean, it's desperate. And I think it also speaks to this connection between capitalism and our view of human value, and the fact that what happens to somebody who's damaged, and why do we even have this perception that someone can be damaged, because it's like, it's the issue of seeing people as things, that you didn't do the thing that you did, so you're broken, you're I just discard you into the bin. You're no longer useful. You might as well not even exist. And I think it also feeds into a lot of these men who just feel like they are on this everlasting hamster wheel of self improvement, getting more money, grinding, trying to find hotter women, trying to find younger women. They are just so perpetually insecure, so perpetually steeped in this mindset that they don't have any worth, that American women don't have any worth, and that hopefully that the women, these foreign women, will be the antidote that will awaken their masculine. It is deep. The problems with these guys are deep. And now I want to go ahead and talk about the fact that men of all colors are guilty. All of them. All of them. White men, of course. There are a lot of black men who are doing this shit. There are a lot of Asian men who are doing this shit. There are a lot of Latino men who do this shit. And so I want to point out that this isn't a video where I'm trying to explicitly say, like, oh, all the passport bros are black dudes, or all the creepy expats are white guys. No, like, it's all of them. And when we can admit that, we can also understand that there is a systemic, cultural, socio-political undercurrent that is making this thing available to all of these different men. And it can stem from a number of things. Like, a lot of these creepy dudes are military men. A lot of them are dudes who, served in the military, and they went to Thailand one year. They went to the red light district, and then now they just have this view of Southeast Asia as this, hot spot where they can get laid. And so they then pass on these narratives, and through the military, and just the ego that a lot of these dudes have once they go into these countries and they see people who are impoverished, and they see, like, these military dudes see themselves as not just militaristically and politically superior, but they see themselves as above the law. They see themselves as being able to get away with anything. And this feeds directly into the sex tourism industry. And the fact that there are a lot of issues in these countries to clamp down on sex tourism, especially when it comes to people who are underage and people who are trafficked. And a lot of these men don't care about that shit. They go in there thinking, oh, I'm gonna find more feminine women. No, bro, you're finding younger women. You're finding girls. And it's gross how so many of them don't want to confront that. They don't think that it's creepy. They don't see how seedy and disgusting it is that 40-year-old, 60-year-old men are going over to Thailand, spending every hour of the night patrolling the streets looking for women to pick up. It's gross, dude. It's fucking yuck. And these passport bros who think that they're doing something new, you're not. It's been this way since we've had these military bases. And I mean, you can even go back. You can find this in media, even in the famous gosh, what is it? Oh my god, the Stanley Kubrick film um, set in Vietnam. Um, it's like these narratives about cheap and easy Asian women. Um, like this has been around for a very long time. All right, let me go ahead and see what are the comments we have here. We have this one from Kundan. OMG, this even reminds me of white men from Iceland marrying Filipino women on a regular basis. It happens so often, there's even a documentary about them. If you know the documentary, let me know. Uh, hey, Lady Bird, what's up? Welcome. Everybody, if you haven't already, definitely go find Lady Bird's page. Follow her content. She does amazing work when it comes to social justice, talking about the visibility and the importance of uh, people with HIV. So definitely go ahead and follow their page and join their live streams. Shani says, haha, these damaged men treat us terrible and wonder why we won't give them booty. So they hop on a plane thinking they can play women overseas with their American dollars. Kunden said, it's the foreign women are submissive trope they fantasize and like. It's exotifying them. Susanna says, definitely toxic masculinity. Erica says, yes, global patriarchy has more than 31 flavors. Stephanie says, that is gross. Erica says, pedophilia abroad, pillars of the community hurt in America. Shani says, they don't see it as creepy. If anything, they continue to justify it. These women are nicer. They make better wives. They're more cultured. She can have children as opposed to my masculine wife at home. Yeah, that's another thing. You have a lot of these men who like leave their wives because they can't have children. They don't want to have as many children, so then they just go off and cheat on somebody with, a young girl. Nomad says, "Hello, Rainier. Hope it's warmer in AZ than it is in here in Seattle. I don't think these men have any idea of how much work is needed both interpersonally, communicatively, and emotionally in order to create quality relationships in other cultures. This is especially true within the family structure of their foreign significant other. These men you speak of do not care about this. That is very obvious among them. And as you said, it is hella yuck." Yeah, and that's one of the things I think is so important to note. A lot of these men try to spend all this time talking about foreign women, other women of other cultures, but they're not cultured themselves. Like their understanding and that's the things that they talk about and try to educate men about are just the same red pilled basic shit that they apply to American women, but just transplanted into a different culture and in a slightly different context. It's still the same backwards shit, and they don't want to admit. Like they have this narrative of foreign women being more feminine, more traditional, but they don't want to talk about all of the feminist and progressive women in Brazil or the Philippines or Thailand. Um, it's like they're so guilty of cherry picking these few ideas just so they can try to convince you that the utopia that they made up in their minds actually exists. Erica says that movie where the lady made the famous quote, "Me love you long time," that set off a stereotype of Asian women. Yes, that is exactly Full Metal Jacket. That's what it was. Full Metal Jacket. Yeah, that was the movie, and I mean that line, the "Me love you long time." Oh my gosh! I mean, if you want to talk about like dehumanizing racist, sexist stereotypes, like ask millennial and X gen, especially X gen women, Asian women, if they've heard of that shit. Ew, it's nasty. It's bad. Like there are dudes who would religiously approach Asian women with "Me love you long time" as their pickup line. Like it. Oh my god. Yeah, pretty bad. Sunshine, what's up? Sunshine says, it's so pervasive that my whole life, I'm 44, people have always asked me if my dad was in the military, if I said I was Filipino and black. Uh, both parents born and raised in LA. Yeah, Neela got a full metal jacket. Erica says, so much for marriage vows. I guess vows are only for the wives to follow. All right. So the next point, what's different about these guys? Like, what's different about passport bros versus any of the other expats who have been doing the same exact shit that these guys have been doing? The first thing that I think I would note is that I think a lot of these guys definitely feel, and it's almost like they have an understanding that they aren't valued back home. That, you know, the problem is so bad that it's not even worth going back to the United States, because anytime I talk to American women at all, they just don't see my value. And I think this is really important because it makes a lot of these passport bros feel like they need to find somebody abroad. And a lot of these guys travel consistently. And when you think about it logistically, from the perspective of trying to learn about different cultures, trying to acclimate yourself to a new place, you need to be you need to live somewhere for a while to actually be able to have like a long-term relationship, to be to actually be able to acclimate to the culture and the dating culture, and to even just get yourself settled so you can get citizenship, so you can eventually have a home to live in. Like, a lot of these guys are so transitory that it's almost like they're digging their own graves because they're not able to settle down. And whoever these women that they meet, like, I'm sure that a lot of these women also want to settle down, but these guys just are putting them in a position where they just don't have any of that stability. And a lot of this also comes from the fact that they don't plan on marrying. They don't want to feel trapped by marriage. They feel like marrying is another way of women controlling them, and so anything they can do to gain back that control, whether it's moving to a different country, whether that is only dating women of a certain income level or only from a certain area in a country, always trying to exert that control somehow. Another thing is, a lot of these men are acutely aware of the fact that they are not the high tier expats. They know they are not the type of expats who have the kind of money to just throw around and they can do whatever. Because a very, very unfortunate truth is a lot of expats have been able to get away with shit because they can pay off police, they can pay off their problems by just dumping a bunch of money into their legal system, or just moving completely. Like, they'll just, commit atrocities in one country and then they'll just say, fuck it, I have a passport, I'm going to go to Brazil now. Rinse, repeat. But a lot of these guys who are part of this passport bro movement don't have that type of money. They are, under $200,000 in American dollars. And they have just enough money where they can live a slightly above middle class life in Thailand. And so I think that's also really important because they don't see, like, they see that there is a ceiling in every single one of these countries, and they can't just go off the walls. And I think it's so funny when you see a lot of these guys post videos of like, all right, I've been living in Thailand for 6 months. Here's what I really have to say. And a lot of these guys end up saying the same shit, which is, yeah, I came to Thailand thinking that things were going to be all perfect, but actually it's just different problems. And that's exactly what happens. These guys end up going on these dates and they realize that, sure, some of the women might be different in certain cultural aspects, but there's always going to be different problems because It's about forming relationships. That's the issue. It's not about, finding the more feminine women, and the femininity is the solution. Another thing that I think is really important is that a lot of these passport bros create content for other expats. And I think that's so important to understand because they are constantly seeking the validation of other men, constantly trying to find women and build relationships and move and travel in a way that makes other men validate them. Oh, cool, bro, you got a hot chick. Oh man, I wish I was living your life. And so this is part of their jobs. Part of their jobs is traveling. Part of their jobs is just having these fling relationships because it makes them feel like this jet-setting, traveling, suave man. But I think deep down, they all realize that part of the crux of making content like this, part of the crux of constantly traveling, constantly meeting women is that, like, they know that their channels and their platforms would disintegrate the minute they actually just, if they met somebody and try to form a regular relationship with them, because they just wouldn't have anything to create content about. And so it's almost like they're constantly putting themselves in disadvantaged relationships because they just want to keep the content alive. And similar to what I was saying before, they're constantly moving, constantly transitory. They don't have any stability in their own lives. And so a lot of the women that they end up seeing and dating can see that. And this is my last point that I want to get into before we jump into some of the videos. Why won't these guys just learn to get good? And what I mean by that is, you're in these different cultures and these different whole ass continents. Why don't you just commit to a place and immerse yourself in the culture and just learn how to be a respectful and educated person in this new place? Like, instead of trying to always come up with game and strategies and all this shit, like, learn to speak the language, learn about the history of these countries, learn about the socio and political realities of the people who are living there. And I think a lot of it stems from these men who, it's almost like they feel so ashamed that they've become, like, so ashamed of their own dating life, so ashamed of the rejection that they've experienced in their lives, that they feel too traumatized to actually improve. Because the reality is that this manosphere shit, this game strategy, that's not improving yourself, actually. Like, yeah, you can say that you're improving yourself if you're, working out and, these basic things like that. But a lot of these men do not know how to talk to women. Like, they're terrible communicators. And you can see these videos of them, like, with a GoPro on their fucking heads, walking around talking to women, so they can get thumbnails of, like, ooh, look at this woman in Colombia with the big boobs. Look who I'm talking to. And then you'll actually watch the video and the dude's, like, fumbling on his words. He's trying to, like, make these corny jokes. It's sad. It's fucking sad boy hours. Like, that's the thing that I was realizing when I was watching these podcasts and these manosphere videos, these passport bros, these dudes are just sad. Like, when you actually watch their vlogs, they're awkward. They're fucking awkward. And a lot of them just lack that emotional intelligence. They have no idea, like, why they're awkward. They don't know how to not be awkward. And they just don't know how to talk to women. Like, I think one of the things that helped me out when I was a single guy was, I mean, I realized this in middle school. I fucking realized this in middle school, that I can't learn about talking to women just by hearing the advice of other men. Like if I wanted to learn how to talk to women, I had to either ask women themselves and try to get advice on how to speak to women, how to converse with women from other women, or I had to just learn how to converse with women myself. Like I had to learn, like, a lot of men have this perpetual problem where they feel like if you're not attractive, then I don't need to talk to you. And if you are attractive, then I need to start implementing my game. And they don't know how to just have a regular conversation with women. Like they always have to be finding an opening, finding a way. If she has a boyfriend, if she has a husband, if there's a way that I can get your number, there's always this ulterior motive for a lot of these guys. And a lot of men will explicitly say that, oh, I'll never talk to a fat woman. I'll never talk to an ugly woman. And the problem with that is they always end up just judging a woman by her attractiveness, and that being the barometer for whether or not they even show respect. And that ultimately puts them at such a disadvantage because the only training that they ever get with communicating with women is when they're trying to hit on women. And if they're not hitting on women, they don't know how to talk to women. They don't know how to talk about the weather or just their day or just to talk about what a woman is interested in. And that's why you see so many men who are horrible communicators, because sometimes all they know how to do is talk about shit that other men talk about. The lack that self-awareness, and they're just so socio-politically unintelligent that they only know how to do, quirky little jokes and little witty banter, but they don't know how to actually dive deeper into these conversations with these women, especially when it comes to women who are foreign. All right, we'll go ahead and read some comments and we'll jump into the video. I'm done with my talking points here. Shani says, trust me, I am an Asian woman and I have gotten that as a pickup line hundreds of times. Susanna says, a cishet white man asked me to give him another shot years ago. I am a queer white person. According to him, I talk too much. That will not change. I am also happily child-free by choice. Also not going to change. He found a bride from the Philippines. She's very quiet, and now they have a son. And that's unfortunately what a lot of these guys want. They just want somebody who will just say yes and will be forced in a position where they will only ever have to say yes to whatever it is that they want to do. Guy wants to move, uproot the family. Yes. The guy wants to have children. Yes. The guy wants to have more children. Yes. The guy wants to start seeing other women. Yes. Like a lot of these guys, that's why they seek out women who are at a financial disadvantage, because you want to be able to have that power and control. You want to be able to always feel like a man, which again just speaks to the deep insecurity. Kuden says, it's also about taking advantage of the unequal lucrative currency exchange rates that are often ironically caused by Western imperialism and modern day colonialism. Icing on the cake if they can get laid too. Yeah. And that's the case with a lot of these passport bros. They want to take advantage of that exchange rate. Erica says, yeah, how in the hell you're going to be an unstable broke crypto bro vagabond? Nothing wrong with those things being single without responsibilities. Like me, haha. Yet you demand submissive girls abroad. Make it make sense. Erica says, it's like a saying I heard from John Kabat-Zinn, I think. Also the name of a book. Wherever you go, there you are. I am neither spiritual nor religious, but that quote is spot on. Yet these penis bros, passport bros, still wouldn't get it. Lolly says, oh, you are back on. Yes. Welcome, Lolly. All right. Now let's go ahead and take a look at some of these clips. Now, this is the first one that I saw over on TikTok explaining this idea of passport bros. So let's go ahead and take a look at it.
So there's something that I stumbled upon on my TikTok, and it's something called Passport Bros. And it's basically American men that are now going overseas to different countries, which we already know about, but they want the women that they're with to remain foreign. So they're not actually intending to bring the women back to the United States because they feel like the women in the United States are kind of like tarnished goods. And I want you to watch this video, okay?
So there's this new movement called Passport Boys. It's when guys, American men, go over to whatever country, find someone, marry them, and bring them back. I'm beginning to jump on board with this whole thing because the dating in this Southern California area.
So in the video, you can hear where he says to bring them back to the United States, but actually one of the Passport Bros, like one of their like guest speakers or something, corrects him and says this.
We're not bringing them back here. Not us. We're going over to their country. We want our foreign women to stay.
What is going on? Like, I'm genuinely concerned for America right now. Like, do I need to try to be the president or like, I don't know, like be a mayor or something? What's going on? So there's...
All right, so that was the initial one that kind of put me onto this topic and this subject. And then after I heard about Passport Bros, I was just on a tear. Like, all right, look through Instagram, looking through TikTok, blah, blah, blah. But like I said, in doing my research and going down this rabbit hole, I realized that so much of Passport Bros bleeds into just the enormous amount of content related to advice for expats dating in, and you can name whatever country, Thailand, Philippines, Brazil. Like, there are these sections of men all over the place. And so I want to go ahead and watch this one over here. So this is a page called BMT Travels, and they talk a lot about Passport Bros. And this is actually a clip from a conversation with these guys, and they are talking about the real reason that Passport Bros are leaving America. And in this particular conversation, I want to go bring up a couple different moments. This first one over here is where this guy is talking about his least favorite place to visit that he's been on, through his Passport Bro journey. And I just want to bring a point to something.
I really try not to compare because, each country is beautiful in its own right, and it has its own essence to it. So Colombia is dope for where it's at. Brazil is a beautiful place. Thailand, all these places are beautiful places that you can't really beat. So I try not to say which one is better, which one is not better. They all are great,
What's your least favorite country?
My least favorite country?
What's your least favorite country?
Oh, that's what you gonna do?
I was just asking. I just asked the question.
Uganda.
Uganda's your least favorite?
Yeah.
Okay.
I won't really. The thing is with Uganda, it was a real and I don't want to offend nobody because you know how I get when you talk about Africa and it's like, oh.
Right.
There was a real begging kind of culture out there. Like you go to the mall, it's like kids were literally walking away from their parents. Like,
is it worse than Brazil?
Bro.
Because Brazil got a lot of begging.
At least, but in Brazil, you talking about people, if you outside at the beach or something like that. I'm talking about you are in the grocery store and like a kid with their parents, like, can I get some money? Or you in the club and it's 3-4 dudes standing around you asking for money. Or one time I tried to talk to a girl in the mall. She had some shirts in her hand. She like, I give you my number if you buy me these shirts.
Oh man.
I was like, what? I haven't even heard an American chick say nothing like that.
Is this because you're American? They do it.
I think it might have been. Right. I think it might have been because I was American, but and it was cool. It was cool, but the vibe wasn't really all the.
See, I think this is so funny because it's like they're acutely aware of why they're traveling today, why they're going to the specific places that they're going to. And you can tell that he's uncomfortable when he is faced with the reality of who he is, why he is there, and the conditions of the people who are in that country. And it's like these guys want the illusion to always be there. They never want to be reminded of the fact that, like, you are a privileged American with who's benefiting from this currency exchange, and you were actively trying to find women from uh, uh, provinces and towns where you know you're going to have a significant amount of financial power over them. But they just don't want to be reminded of that. And you can hear this in so many of these different uh, 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 expat dating communities where, like, they love being the rich guy. They love being the guy with all this money to throw around who can just wine and dine everybody. But they don't want to feel that discrepancy in gang and that gap. Like it's almost like they want to find women who are poor and who don't have a lot of money, but they don't want to be reminded of the fact that they are poor and that they need a lot of money. Erica says they act as if people asking for money is only something so-called Western women do. Ridiculous. Yeah, and that's a funny thing is that they're so hypocritical. You know, it's like they say that the problem with Western women is that they're greedy and they only care about money, but then the problem with a lot of these foreign women is that a lot of them only want money, and they just don't want to admit just the basic reality, which is that maybe the problem isn't all these Ugandan women are greedy, all American women are damaged. Like maybe the problem is you, bro. Maybe the common denominator is you.
The way there for me. So
What made you go to Uganda?
So one of my friends was in Uganda, and I was kind of getting bored. I had been here for a while, and I was doing a lot of partying, bro. I was going out every day for like 3-4 months.
Facts.
And I was like, I need a break from Pattaya. And I told myself that this year I was gonna go to Europe or Africa, but the Ukraine stuff happened, so that kind of canceled it. So I'm like, all right, I'll go to Africa because I did say I wanted to touch Africa.
And notice the places that they are trying to visit are also places that have been widely known as hotspots for sex tourism. Brazil, Thailand, Philippines, Ukraine. I mean, I'm just saying, like, there's a reason why these guys, when they're talking about foreign women, they're not talking about wanting to date in, you know, the rich provinces of South Korea. There's a reason why they're not talking about trying to date, you know, college educated women from Kenya. Like, they're targeting very specific places for very specific reasons.
In this year, so I was like, all right, I'll go check it out. So I went there and I went to Kenya, but Kenya was cool. I like Kenya, but Uganda, nah, I'm cool. But as far as you just moved from the States, you officially done with America. So my question is for you, like, you see, you got a lot of hate on the internet. You know, people criticize, and everybody in the passport community kind of been getting it, but you've been getting it a lot. The channel been blowing up. So my question is, like, where did this everything start from you of wanting to go overseas? Like, how did that begin, and where did you get the idea of I want to leave the state?
All right, let me go move over here to where the clip continues. There's like a little ad break.
My question is, like, where did this everything start from you of wanting to go overseas? Like, how did that begin, and where did you get the idea of I want to leave the States?
Yeah, and I really want to zero in on this because I think that in order to understand passport bros, because if their identity is so attached to the passport, because the passport is more than just, you know, the physical passport, the fact that you have a passport, but it's this feeling of I can move to a different place and be a different person. I can sort of wipe the slate clean and be in this new place, even though it's like you could move throughout the United States and have the same effect. But it's like they want to. I mean, the fact that they're trying to distance themselves so much, I think it's so important to understand that relationship behind why they are trying to leave, why they feel like America is a bad place.
And like improving myself, like getting my money right, getting my fitness together, getting my own place and all that, and still getting a low return on investment. And then you try to go talk to people, and they still make it seem like you the problem, no matter what. You know, somebody could, you could go on a date with somebody, and let's say she pull a gun out on you. Somehow they try to make it seem like, oh, you picked the wrong person. You thought I could anticipate that? Like, you know.
What do you mean by low return on your investment?
The chicks I was dealing with, here and there, I'd be like, let me show you.
Right.
Other times, like, you know, I just did something yesterday, but I ain't got to show you a picture.
Right.
That's bullshit. I didn't work on myself to not be satisfied.
Right.
Like you satisfied putting your girl on YouTube.
Yeah.
But that's what if you build yourself up, that's what you want. Right. In the United States, that's not, from what I'm seeing in my comments, and obviously, most men aren't feeling that way, like they're getting what they want.
Yeah, it's definitely a thing.
I said, well, hey, you know, if I am the problem, let me change the entire environment. Let me change the whole language, the whole continent, the whole culture, everything, just like that.
Okay.
I was
See, that right there. I'm not having success with women. They say that I'm the problem. So let me change everything. Let me change the culture. Let me change the country. And let me just start fresh. Like, it's you can sense almost like the fear of trying to confront themselves. The fear of, you're asking me to interrogate myself. You're asking me to put myself in a situation where I have to have some self-awareness about why these relationships are so bad. No, I'm not changing. I'm moving. I'm leaving. That's it. Like that's the solution. And yet, they still continue to have problems. They still are having, oh, Thailand's great, but I have to move from Thailand because there's this problem. I went to Brazil. Oh, Brazil's not good enough because the women are like this. Like, bro, when will you learn? When will you learn? Michelle Dang says the passport bro issue, whether they bring their brides back to their countries or stay in their brides' countries, has been an issue for several years. And it isn't just white and black, cis straight. Male Americans, Canadians, Australians, Europeans doing it. So many Asian and Latino men are doing it as well. Kanina says, how contradictory. You go to another country, carrying yourself like you have money, and even throwing the money around like you have it, but then get mad and offended when people treat you that way, begging or wanting you to pay to play. Dusty behavior at its finest, I see. Nomad says, the AC/DC t-shirt is a dead giveaway. Red flag. Eric says, don't you love it when men like them tell themselves? Neil says, I mean, these are the same guys who say women should choose better. And they have.
changed as soon as I touched down.
So I got a follow-up question. So, in America, was the problem getting women to have sex with? No. Or was the problem finding a quality woman that you would actually build something more than that with?
A quality woman.
A quality
Yeah.
woman. Because that's, that's
You know he's lying. You know she's lying. Like, the math isn't mathing. The math isn't mathing. I mean, are you dating like at 1 million people a year? Like, is that your pace for you to to feel like all hope was lost in your country? Damn.
It's been a big talking point, like, oh, you can't get none in the States. Oh, it's because you. And I don't think it's the fact that you can't get no sex in the States or you aren't able to have sex in America. It's finding the quality of something beyond sex. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of just what I wanted to make clear, because people will hear you talk and people will see your videos and think
They use some lame incel.
exactly.
Yes, this is not an incel movement. Like, guys actively can date in the States if they wanted to. But like you say, yeah, exactly. I mean, let's be honest. It's very hard for women.
Look, I'll say that I don't think it's an incel movement, because incel is involuntary celibate, and that's clearly not what these guys are doing, but it is still part of that manosphere group of people who have this distorted, conservative, misogynistic view of dating and women. Um, and their solution is just different. Incels feel like all women are damaged and all women are too feminist. Therefore, I don't want to deal with women. I don't want to sleep with women. I don't want to date women. These guys just feel like the women are damaged are the American women, but the women in other countries are okay. So it's like, okay, it's the difference between vanilla and French vanilla.
Women in the States that compared to the women overseas, bro. It's over with. Like you dating a woman who's just remarkably beautiful and then feminine. On top of that, and then she'll listen to you, because I've had women in the States tell me, "Oh, I don't listen to men." Well, we can't have no relationship then if you don't listen to me then. You know, I think a lot of guys just want more traditional relationships at the end of the day. That's all. The relationships we saw growing up from parents and grandparents. That's all it is at the end of the day. It's not that we hate women in the States. It's just like, listen, we can be friends, we can work together, hire you, whatever it is. But as far as a wifey, man, that takes a certain amount of upbringing and culture, you know what I'm saying, to be a wife.
So if you want to have the relationship that you saw growing up, but you grew up in the United States, then why are you trying to have an international, interracial relationship with somebody that you most likely can't communicate with because you don't understand their culture or their what? What? Make it make sense. Erica says quality versus sex, they're intertwined in their heads. Genevieve says the exploitation mindset is horrifying. Yeah, I mean, even just the way that they're talking about, like, oh, American women, they just don't listen to men. I I don't understand that talking point. I don't even understand how anyone could even say something like that unless you've just had horrible dog shit relationships. Unless you have had the kinds of relationships where it's like you're a terrible communicator, and to be honest, I think that is the main crux. I think a lot of these guys lack so much emotional intelligence. They lack basic communication skills that the things that they do want are either so misguided and so selfish and so misogynistic that nobody in their right mind would ever or should ever listen to them, or they just don't know how to communicate the things that they should be communicating. They don't know how to set boundaries. They don't know how to talk about their feelings. They don't know how to talk about what they want in their lives. And so I think I'm willing to bet that that is the primary issue with a lot of these guys, that they have a very distorted view of the world that is just not in agreement with most women, and people can just see through that shit.
It's not easy to talk. It's not easy to be a husband, but it's not easy to be a wife, man. You know, it takes sacrifices, because it's really for the family structure is really for the children. That's sacrificing on both sides, male and female. It just seems like a lot of women have become extremely selfish now, man. Just not feminism, just selfish at the end of the day. To just want to rip the whole family apart, or just do things like charge you to see your own child. Like, that shouldn't be socially acceptable.
No, that's true. So I say, man, I've always said, like, I've had.
I just think it's so hilarious when a lot of these guys talk about, like, oh, it's all about the family. It's all about raising a family and, having a good family structure so the kids can have a positive motherly figure to look up to. But it's like, bro, you have such a toxic view of dating and relationships. Like, would you want your dad to see your mom that way? Like, and that's what I think that they don't even understand, is that, like, they don't get how this mentality feeds into the problem that they are trying to fight. Like, the reason why so many of the women in America, in their eyes, are so overly feminine, they're too masculine, they have their guard up, it's because, especially for them dating these women dating American men, they're able to communicate these boundaries. They're able to be in a position where they can choose better. And when they can see what you're offering, and when they can see that you're actually not marriage material, that you're not even boyfriend material, the choice becomes pretty obvious. Like, a lot of women don't want to just date this, master game plan type of guy, because they're so transparent. Like, it's so, I mean, even even if these guys don't reveal all their cards, if there's even a whiff that you're the type of guy who's a pickup artist, like, we can already gauge the type of person that you are and what your motivations are. And so a lot of these guys just get sniffed out by a lot of women who know better.
Throughout my life, I've had some decent girls here and there in the States, but to me,
And we talk
my
about
best,
different generations.
the best chicks I had in the States still can't really stand next to the chicks overseas, because I feel as though in America there's this block they have in their mind that's only gonna let them be so submissive. You know what I'm saying? Because they got that block, like, I'm not gonna let him really take any real control. I'll let him get this far, but and
Wild. Wild. That's so wild, dude. Like, framing women setting boundaries about being controlled, like, that's the prop. These guys have such an unhealthy, fucked up view of relationships. Because I'm telling you, anybody who has even a minimal amount of self-awareness will have it within themselves to say, you know what, if I'm like dating, I'm not gonna let someone just like totally fucking take over my life. Like, we can date and we can like go out and take turns, like, going to each other's houses and whatever. But these guys who, it's almost like they want to enter into somebody's life and just dominate. They want to like start running the show. They want to start, all right, now you got to start dressing like this because you're my woman. You need to start doing this. Like, and they wonder why women don't want them. They wonder why they're perpetually single. They wonder why they have to travel so much, just to find better dating opportunities. Kanita says, so they want a quality traditional woman, and yet they're still hopping from country to country, unmarried still. Nomad says, absolute insecurity. Erica says, they drink audacity on a regular basis. Kunin says, this is another version of the Madonna whore complex. I'm actually not sure of that one. Genevieve says, yes, Rainier, they lack so much communication skills so badly. I'm sure they are possible to listen to. Neela says, charged to see their own children. So my question is, how are they being charged? If they feel children are being kept away from their fathers, why aren't they advocating for fathers to seek custody? Genevieve says, oh my gosh, the selfishness, disingenuousness, assholeness to think that the financial support for their kid is a charge for seeing their children. Be there and support the raising of your child. Nita says, it shouldn't be socially acceptable to make babies all over the place while thinking they're going to care for and raise themselves either. Women do what they have to make. Women do what they have to when they make babies with sorry broken men, but go ahead and blame women. Erica says, so trapsing around the globe as a solo maybe doesn't break up family, that doesn't create family. Sowing your semen seeds and neglecting the kids and women because men don't want to pay doesn't break up families. Get the hell out of here. And Neil says, it's a common MRA manosphere talking point about mothers actively keeping their children away from the fathers, but they don't offer advice on the legal steps fathers can take to see them. And Genevieve says nothing about being with their partner is actually about caring for that person. They don't want a partner; they want a doll. Um, which is why they want to exploit women from countries with less social political protection. It's truly pathetic. And Cunningham says, how far do they want women to go? It's very hunter prey vibes over here. Oh yeah, yeah. And that's the way that it feels like when they talk about these women, when they talk about the differences between these women. A lot of it feels almost like, if you've ever been into any sort of collectibles, whether it's pop figures or Pokemon cards or vintage cameras, it's the way that they talk about women like they're trading cards. Like they have certain stats and features, and that all women in Brazil look like this, and they act like this, and they are this way in relationships. Like it's it's so uneducated and distorted, and it's the reason why they're terrible at this shit.
They got people in their ear, and like you were saying, they weren't taught that. Like in these countries, a lot of these girls are taught
Stacey,
that growing
Stacey
up,
Clark,
and they
what's up?
see it with their own eyes and stuff like that. So,
Even as basic as cooking, they're taught that. I mean, that's not just solely what it takes to be a wife, but they're not taught that in the States. If anybody disagrees, I always say we have a fast food culture. There's not just strips. There's not. I mean, people do Uber Eats and delivery, that type of stuff around here, but we can all agree that the majority of women in these countries, well, really anywhere outside the United States, are gonna know how to cook. Yeah.
And see, they don't even understand the culture that explains why that is. They don't want to talk about the fact that, in the United States, we have a system where a lot of people don't have enough money to buy fresh fruits and groceries, and that oftentimes for a lot of people in working class neighborhoods, it can oftentimes be more affordable to just swing over to McDonald's and pick something up. They don't want to talk about how there are a lot of places that are food deserts, and that there isn't a lot of fresh food to actually practice cooking. As somebody who actively likes to cook, I'll tell you that your ability to cook is completely related to where you are, the accessibility to the ingredients that you have, and the culture of food over there. And that's another thing about American culture, which is we just don't have as strong of a cooking culture in general. Like, the same thing that he's trying to blame American women, we have to blame American culture at large because white people fucking can't cook. And the reason why a lot of these other countries you are more likely to see women cook is the same reason why a lot of these countries you're a lot more likely to see men who can cook. Because in a lot of these countries, they have a different food distribution infrastructure where there's night markets and there's farmers markets and there's places where you can just walk. They have walkable cities where people are constantly selling affordable produce or street food. And so the ability to cook is a lot more present. The accessibility to more ingredients is a lot more readily available. And they also have just a much stronger food culture where, in the United States, we might have certain pockets where we have like, okay, this place is known for pizza or cheesesteaks or whatever. But by and large, like, so much of American cooking culture has been completely fucked over because, and again, this is sort of a historical tangent, but it's like, the commercialization of the food industry happened because when a lot of these white families had to start cooking on their own, when they no longer could rely on black maids and chefs or people that they enslaved to cook for them, they just didn't have the cultural roots of cuisine. Like, everybody knows that the foundation of American cuisine is founded on the recipes of black chefs and black cooks. And so when it came to the commercialization of American cuisine, so much of it fell in line with industrialization, with the growth of like the canning industries, and a lot of these American products, whether it's like Heinz ketchup. I mean, again, I'm sort of going into sort of the history of advertising, but the history of advertising, the history of you know, commercial agriculture really did have the biggest impact on what we know as these classic American dishes. The casseroles, the lasagnas, all that shit. A lot of it was in tandem with the growth of American business and agriculture corporations. Whereas in places like Thailand, in places like Brazil, you have these national dishes, you have these regional cuisines that are a part of the local agriculture, because Thailand has a lot of chilies, or Brazil has a lot of a certain type of herb that gets used in recipes. We don't have that in the United States as much, because we have such a fucked up agricultural system where we only produce one type of corn, where we only produce one type of apple, and so our food culture is very commercialized and very bland. And so, again, I can talk about this forever. I love food, but I'm just trying to hint at the fact that this dude's explanation for why women don't know how to cook in America is so shallow, but it's producing this result where he now just thinks that, like, oh, Thai women are better because they know how to cook. Like, bro, you don't even know. You don't even want to have the conversation. Erica says, men cook around the world too. American men, most do not. Miss Stacey Clark says, especially in the urban areas, it's many food deserts. Genevieve says, yes. Kenita says, wow, women don't know how to cook. But how many of these men know how to change a tire, build a house, or do any manly manual labor? You want a woman who can cook, then I hope you're the type of man that can build a log cabin with your bare hands. Genevieve says, that's so fascinating. Thank you for this. I'm not American, so I didn't actually know that history, but it makes a lot of sense. I actually didn't know that you were an American. All right, so let me go ahead and switch over to another clip over here. I just want to show this clip because this is the dude from 90 Day Fiancé. His name's Caesar. And watching this kind of just reminded me of something that I feel towards a lot of these passport bros.
When I tell people I do nails, they're pretty surprised. I learned to do nails from my ex-girlfriend. She was my high school sweetheart. We dated for 13 years, and when we broke up, I was heartbroken. But still a hopeless romantic. It's very important for me to have somebody that's my soulmate, somebody that I can walk the beach with, live our life, and basically in like a dreamland, like I love you. And I think I finally found the one woman that I've been searching for all my life. Her name is Maria. She's 28 years old, and she lives in Ukraine. We met on Anastasia Date. It's a very special website that brings Americans and Ukrainian women to meet each other for a small price. Anastasia Date has a unique system. You could buy flowers, candy. Then it's up to the girl whether she wants to respond. This is the card and the flowers that I sent her with my email and my phone number on it. This cost me $450. And then she emailed me back, and there was immediate sparks. Yeah, it was like firecrackers, and everything was just booming off. She's kind, she's smart, funny. She makes me feel special. She is my soulmate. Maria and I communicate every single day. And then she sends me these little videos, and she's given me pet names like Big Daddy, my husband.
I can't wait to be with you. Love you, my husband.
Do you think she's sending those videos to anyone else?
I hope she's not sending those videos to anyone else.
All right, so I wanted to show that clip real quick because, for starters, I'm not trying to dunk at this dude because I genuinely feel kind of bad for him. Like, he seems like he's a pretty nice dude. I haven't seen all the 90 Day Fiance segments of Caesar, but in the stuff that I watched, he's an awkward dude. You know, he's kind of an awkward dude. He said one of the reasons why he wanted to try to meet a woman from Ukraine is because he feels like Ukrainian women don't really care so much about looks. So he's clearly, he doesn't feel confident about the way that he looks. He's a handsome dude. But I wanted to talk specifically about how he mentioned that he was heartbroken because he had a relationship that ended and that he immediately went to this service trying to find Ukrainian women. And it just reminds me of a lot of these passport bros and the fact that, like I said before, it's almost like they get so traumatized, so they feel so emasculated after a relationship that they feel like they need to leave. They feel like their value as a man has been completely diminished in the country, and that the only solution again is to find foreign women. And I just keep thinking of men running away from their problems, these guys not wanting to confront the deeper issues that are lying underneath. And so remember when I was telling you about how there's a whole community industry full of these passport bros. I mean, in one of those videos, they were referring to themselves as like the passport community. The passport community. So if you just go on YouTube, right, and you just type in expat dating and then just change it, whether it's the Philippines, whether it's Brazil, whether it's Ukraine, whether it's Thailand, you will see an endless sea of expat dating tips, how to snag a foreign woman, top signs that a foreign woman is into you, and it's some of it is really desperate and kind of sad. Some of it is terrifyingly concerning. Some of it is very fucking sus, and some of these people should, catch a case. But a lot of this shit oftentimes is the same. Oh gosh, guy is probably easily the worst. I've talked about him a couple years ago. His name is David Bond. He is probably one of the most disgusting figures within the space. I don't even want to entertain his shit by watching it. But if you want to watch at your own discretion, because it's pretty fucking disgusting. But like I said, you can just continue to scroll down forever and ever and ever and ever and ever and just find nonstop channels of these old ass fucking dudes. A lot of these young dudes, most of them fucking really creepy, just talking about, look, retiring in Thailand, love and money as an expat. Do not make these mistakes with Thai women. It's, yeah. I mean, look, I'm not even trying to say that, I'm against being a foreigner not from that country and then forming a relationship, but it's the types of relationship these guys are looking for. it's the types of guys that these guys are, and it's the type of women that they're targeting that is the red flag. Now, I was looking through, excuse me, and I came across this channel called Mike's Philippines Journey. And this is just a textbook example of just some of the dudes. You can see in the thumbnail over, or the header, get detailed information on traveling, moving, and relationships in the Philippines. And it's just a picture of, like, you know, a tan woman's bikini. And I mean, all of his videos, you know, tutorial on OkCupid, finding a Filipino woman, 5 reasons Filipinas marry older men, finding easy Filipinas to get with. Woo, Jesus Christ, bro. First things to do before meeting Filipinos. Oh my god. What are we, Pokemon? Like I said, just enormous amounts of content on this shit. And I wanted to watch this specific video in this particular section. And this video is called New Law in Philippines Will Affect Foreign Men. So I want you to just peep this video, all right? We're going to, was it 9 minutes and right here? All right, we'll have a couple minutes to watch. So just listen to him, and then I'll show you the article in question that's talking about this law that he's discussing.
Let's put a couple few scenarios. Number 1, you go to a massage.
Oh, okay, so let me actually provide some context. So this is, because I realized I wasn't showing you part earlier. So the law that he's talking about is called Republic Act number 11313, aka the Safe Spaces Act, the Bawal Bastos Law. And it's essentially a law that covers all forms of gender-based sexual harassment. All right? So this is a law that is being applied to, it's actually being expanded. It was previously a law that targeted people in positions of authority, so like teachers, employers, professors, doctors, whoever, who were engaging in sexual abuse and sexual harassment. And that law was providing protections for victims of those people in authority. And so this new law expands the definition of the perpetrator and the victim, so that now you don't have to just be a teacher or a professor in order to catch a case. This could apply to anybody. And this also extends to like sexual harassment, catcalling, and also just harassing somebody for any number of reasons. This extends to public places like streets and alleys and public roads and buildings, malls, schools, churches, restaurants, cafes, bathrooms, spas. So this is pretty far-reaching and far extending. And I think it's also important to understand that this law is in place because the problem has gotten that bad. And you can see this graphic over here of someone saying no to all these people who are catcalling them. And so the acts of gender-based sexual harassment in these public spaces, again, this applies to sexist remarks, slurs that are prejudice or stereotyping or discriminating against on the basis of sex, specifically against women. This also includes homophobic remarks for people who identify as lesbian, gay, bisexual, queer, pansexual. This also includes misogynistic remarks and transphobic remarks. So this is actually a really all-encompassing law that's supposed to provide protection. And so let's go see what this guy has to say, because right now he's explaining all these different scenarios that he's trying to warn his viewers. He's trying to warn them. He's trying to say, all right, this new law in place, guys, we got to be careful.
A massage parlor, a massage place, You mistaken it for it to be one of those spakol places, which is the happy ending places. And you make a sudden advance on someone. It's not warranted. She's not one of those workers. You made an advancement because you made a mistake. Bam. Charges can be put on you. Number two, for some of you guys that actually go out there.
I mean, bro, like, if you're the type who's, this passport bro going to these different countries, and you know that there's already a sex tourism industry, like, why are you then trying to bleed that over into just trying to see if you can get a happy ending from a massage parlor? Like, I think it's so funny how he's just presenting this as a very predictable and regular mistake that any guy could make.
And you guys can't even go into a regular bar. You want to get some cheaper stuff with a streetwalker. All right? And here you are, you think that this girl's a streetwalker because she's walking in Angeles City. And you're going to be like, make advances on her. Whoops, magano. Means, hey, how much? And she's not. Because there's people walking street that are just passing by because it's the most lighted area and it's easier to go from one to the end. Charges on you right away. Three scenario. This is a new law. They know that a lot of foreigners coming to the Philippines, might be seeking some assistance. A good cop who wants to obey the law and implement the law, which is this law, for some reason gets a sudden tip from a woman that says, hey, this guy made advances on me. What if she has it on video? Bam. Done. Some of you guys that have no game. Now, I'm going to share with you guys where it's the funny part here. Because I've spoken to a lot of women, and I've also studied about this. What it is pretty much if they get creeped out by you. Because a lot of women, when you speak to them, when they say, I don't like it when guys catcall me, I don't like guys when they try to hit on me. When you break it down really,
man, it's your talking point.
And you ask them the question, what if it was, if you say something, what if it was Brad Pitt? What if it was Johnny Depp that hit on you? It's not creepy anymore. They're like, oh, that's flattering. It's only creepy when it's the ugly dude. But here's the thing. What they perceive to be an ugly dude. And gentlemen, I hate to be the bearer of bad news. There is that stigma of older men being creepy, right? What if they have that perception that you are a creepy foreigner, a creepy older foreigner? This can be used against you. What if you're one of those guys that be walking around the malls trying to meet these girls from SM? You don't even want to wait for them to leave work, because there's a lot of guys that do this. Try to do game on a woman while she's working. Never do game on a woman while she's working. She's just doing her job to be nice to you for now. Does it?
Don't you love that? Don't you just love how his reason for why you shouldn't do game on a woman while she's working is because she's not gonna be into you?
Work sometimes, sure. But here's the biggest problem. Imagine if you do this at a storefront, like an SM. And here you are trying to get this girl's number. She doesn't want to be rude to you, but she's like, no. And a manager sees you. A security guard sees you. Do you think that they can't file charges on you? Now, taken to the extreme. Let's say you got a bad cop and somebody reports to him, but turns out to be the person who reports him, they are in cahoots with. But of course, they have to prove the evidence. Let's say there's evidence that you were, trying to solicit. Even if that girl is a daywalker, if she feels creeped out by you, she has evidence by you that can be proven. Wouldn't it be easier money to be able to say, hey, we got to file charges on you? Guys, this is where you have to, that's why I'm saying, keep yourself proper, doesn't matter how old you are, you can always be more presentable, handle yourself well, know how to approach women the right way where it's not creepy. Because let's be honest, majority of the men are creepy as hell when it comes to freaking approaching women. Because why do men appear creepy to women in approach? It's because a lot of men don't know how to approach.
So without entertaining that any further, I wanted to show this because, as we were talking about before, a new law had to get implemented because the problem got so bad, and yet the response from a manos like I don't know, well, I guess yeah, he's part of the manosphere. Um, you know, as somebody who's this influential figure who has 15,000 subscribers, who sort of believe in this mindset of his warning isn't that, hey guys, this new law was implemented because the problem has gotten so bad, and you know a lot of men are like harassing and abusing these people, and like that's not right, we shouldn't be doing that, we need to learn how to communicate, whatever. Like, no, his solution is his framing of the solution of the problem is that they're just trying to get money off of us. They know that a lot of us expats are here, and this law is just going to be there in case they want to make money off of us because they know that we have all this money. And now people are just going to, cry me too anytime we start hitting on them. And I always find it so hilarious that a lot of these guys do this dance, this back and forth dance where they want to say that men aren't creepy, guys should be able to do whatever they want, say whatever they want, and that guys are just being guys. But at the other hand, they want to distance themselves from creepy guys by saying that, oh yeah, most guys are really creepy. But, us, the ones who were running game, the ones who are trying to hit on women while they're working, the ones who are subscribed to this channel, we're not creepy at all. It's like, you're all creepy. All of them. All of them. Jay says, I'm upset that some young cis and straight BIPOC teens and men might watch these videos and believe their effed up ideologies about women outside of the US. And they do. They definitely do. Genevieve says, he does seem like he could meet someone nice, but he is like a other side of the spectrum of having a big fairy tale he's trying to find. I empathize. I've had unreal expectations too. It's important to do the work rather than run deeper into that fantasy. Jay says, this book by Bell Hooks is so good. I can't see the link, but I'll add that to my list. Nomad says, the first one you mentioned, the dipshit uses those vids to draw in men to his expensive consulting service. He is playing with fire in Manila. Yeah, definitely. And again, like I said before, a lot of these guys are creating this content because this is their business. They have a consulting business where they advise other men on how to be expats in these countries. Miss AC says, perverts and degenerate mindsets. Kunan says, in Bhutan, citizens are not allowed to marry foreigners. Now I see why such a law might have been passed. Genevieve says, power to his holistically written law. And Jay says, yes, his human rights are being trampled on. Genevieve says he is such a turd, treating an actual community as a strip club. And Kuna says, wow, this is some typical, predictable, reverse victimhood gaslighting narrative. All right, so I'm not going to be able to read all these these articles in its entirety, but this one over here is actually talking about that safe space law. And interestingly enough, so the reason why this law really started to become necessary is because of the problem that's been happening in schools. So I'll just read a couple of these paragraphs. More and more young people have been speaking out in recent years about their experiences of sexual harassment by adults on their campuses. Despite the enactment of progressive laws to protect youth, the issue of sexual harassment on campuses has grown disturbing over the years. One of these laws is Republic Act number 11313, or the Safe Spaces Act, Bawal Bastos Law, which covers all forms of gender-based sexual harassment committed in public spaces, educational or training institutions, workplaces, and online spaces. RA 11313 was meant to enhance accountability processes by requiring schools to take prompt action to eradicate the same actions of sexual harassment or violence, prevent their recurrence, and treat their impacts. But in practice, this seldom transpired as intended. Recent allegations of sexual abuse in the Philippines High School for the Arts, an institution that bills itself as a haven for young artists, have come to light. Students as young as 11 years old are placed in the care of predators who pose as mentors in a remote area of Mount Makiling. Stories of abuse are told by students and alumni throughout generations, and they reflect the institution's callousness and lack of enforcement of our laws. Campus predators should not be accorded the honor of resignation, yet in response to the ongoing student uproar, a predator was asked to merely resign from his post as admin officer, and unfortunately the issue died down, but the predicament remained. So that's why the law had to be expanded, because there were children who continued to be victimized, and they were falling through the cracks of this justice system. So they had to expand the law to be able to provide that extra protection. And so to think that there are men like that dude, that Mike's Adventure guy, trying to advise men, trying to warn them, oh man, this law is going to affect us. Bro, who is part of your subscriber base that you have to warn them against this shit? Gross. And now I want to go ahead and watch this little video from Asian Boss. How do Thais feel about tourists? We won't be able to watch the whole thing, but we'll watch just a little bit.
Hey everybody, it's Proud from Asian Boss. Many of you know by now that Thailand is a popular tourist destination. We only hear one side of the story regarding the food, beaches, people, or maybe even the sex industry, which the Thai government is trying to clamp down on. But have you ever wondered how the locals feel about foreign tourists? Do they welcome them or find them difficult to deal with? We wanted to find out, so we hit the street of Bangkok. Let's dive in.
Now they'll all be obviously speaking in their language, so I'll go ahead and read.
ความประทับใจแรกถ้าพูดถึงคำว่านักท่องเที่ยวชาวต่างชาตินึกถึงอะไรคะ
Foreign tourists in
คนที่
Thailand.
ทำให้
They
ประเทศ
bring
ไทย
growth
เจริ
to
ญเติบโต
Thailand.
นิสัยบางอย่าง
You mean their personality?
ถ้าต่างชาติ
Foreigners
เขา
are into sex.
ก็มีหลายแบบหลายรูปแบบแต่บางคนก็มาสุภาพมาเหมือนจะจีบสุดท้ายก็จะจบด้วยจะชวนเราไปมีเซ็กอะไรอย่างเงี้ย
ใช่ก็แบบว่าเราก็จะเห็นเขาแบบ
I see them
สะพาย
carrying
กระเป๋า
backpacks,
แล้วก็เดินแถว
walking
ข้าว
around
สารอะไร
Khao
อย่าง
San
เงี้ย
Road.
ประมาณ
Yeah,
เนี้ย
something
ค่ะ
like that.
ก็ต้องขอบคุณเขาที่
We
มา
need
เที่ยว
to
ไทย
thank
ให้
them for coming to
เศรษฐ
Thailand
กิจ
and
เรารุ่งเรือง
allowing
ไป
our
ด้วย
economy to prosper.
ถ้าเมื่อก่อนคิดถึงแบ็ค
Backpackers
แพค
would
เกอร์
come to mind
แล้วเราก็อยากเป็น
before,
อะไรเงี้ย
but I also
แต่ถ้า
wanted
ตอน
to
นี้
be
คิดถึง
one.
พัทยาคือ
But now it's
ฝ
them
รั่งถอด
riding
เสื้อขี่มอเตอร์
through
ไซค์
shirtless
นั่งตามบาร์อะไร
and
อย่าง
sitting
เงี้
at
ย
the bars.
มันว่าประเทศไทยอ่ะ
The past
ใน
year,
ปี
the
ที่ผ่าน
number of
มา
foreign
มีนักท่องเที่ยว
tourists in
เอาชาวต่าง
Thailand
ชาติอย่างเดียวนะ35กว่าล้านคน
reached
ซึ่ง
over
เยอะมาก
35 million
คิดว่า
people.
อะไรที่ทำให้
Why
ประเทศ
do
ไท
you
ยกลาย
think
เป็นประเทศที่
Thailand is
ชาว
such a
ต่างชา
popular
ติชอบ
tourist
มากันข
destination?
นาดนี้
ปาร์ตี้อย่างเงี้ยฟูลมูน
Parties
มัน
like
ก็
the
จะ
full
มี
moon
งาน
party
มีอะไรอย่างเงี้ย
and
เขา
other
ก็มาเที่ยว
parties.
ประมาณนั้น
They come for these
อะไร
things.
นะขออีกที
What do you say? They're here looking for Thai wives. Just kidding.
ไม่แต่มันก็มีคน
But a
ที่
lot of
เห็น
people
ใช่
think
ใช่
like
ใช่
that.
แบบผู้หญิง
Yeah,
ไทย
yeah. I
ไม่
don't
ได้
want
ว่า
to
แต่
offend
ผู้หญิ
you,
งไทย
but
บาง
some
คน
Thai women
ก็มี
tend to
แบบ
target foreigners
เจาะจง
specifically
ต่าง
because
ชาติ
of
เป็นพิเศ
that.
ษอ่ะ
ถ้าโซนยุโรป
With Europeans,
บ้านน่า
I
จะเป็น
think it's
อุณห
the
ภูมิ
weather.
ป่ะแถวบ้านเขาเป็น
It's usually cold
ห
in
นาว
their
ซะส่วนใหญ่
countries.
ลบแล้วบ้านเราก็
Here
มี
we
ภูเขา
have
มีทะเล
mountains,
มีอะไรครบ
beaches, and everything.
ขายบ
It's
ริการ
probably
นะครับ
prostitution.
แต่ส่วนตัวเรารู้สึก
But do
ว่า
you really
มันมี
think
เยอะ
there's
จริ
a
ง
lot
ไหม
of
พวก
prostitution?
ค้าประเวณี
ก็อย่าง
From what I see in the
ก็
news,
เห็น
there's
อยู่ว่ามัน
probably
ก็
a
มี
lot.
เยอะจริงๆครับตามสถานที่ท่องเที่ยว
Especially at those
ที่
tourist
ฝรั่ง
attractions
อยู่
where
พวกชาวต่าง
foreigners
ชาติ
like
ไป
to
อย่างเงี้
go.
ย
พวกค้าประเวณี
Thailand
ประเทศ
is
ไทย
well
มัน
known
ดัง
for
มากๆ
prostitution.
เลยอะไรเงี้ย ส่วนตัวเราคิด
Why do you
ว่า
think Thailand is
ทำไม
famous for
เรา
that?
ถึงดังเรื่องนี้
เอาจริงๆเราดัง
Are we really
ดัง
famous
เรื่อง
for
นี้
it?
มากเลยเหรอ ดังใช่ไหม
We are?
ใน
Yeah,
นัก
among
ท่องเที่ยว
foreign
ต่างชาติ
tourists.
นะ
แต่เพราะว่า
Maybe because it
ราคา
doesn't
เราไม่
cost
ได้
that
สูง
much.
ด้วยหรือเปล่า แล้วแบบมีหลายเกรด
And
ให้
there
เรา
are
เลือก
different
อย่าง
types
เงี้
of
ย
services to
ฝรั่ง
choose
ก็เลย
from.
รู้สึกว่า
Foreigners might feel
ก็
there's
ดู
a
แบบมี
variety.
หลากหลาย
การแต่งตัวมั้งคะ
It's how
ข
people
อง
dress
บาง
maybe.
กลุ่ม
Certain
อะไร
people
อย่าง
dress
เงี้ยที่แบบว่าแต่ง
provocatively.
ตัวล่อแหลมชาวต่างชาติก็
So
คิดว่า
foreigners might think like
อะไร
that.
ประมาณนี้ คนต่างชาติ
And see, I want to bring up that fact that like even Thai people, like as much as they understand that this is a thing, they also realize that it's actually representative of a much smaller community. Whereas so many of these passport bros are painting foreign women, because this is a foreign woman, the interview is a foreign woman, all these people who are being interviewed, these women are foreign women, and yet these passport bros don't want to talk about these women. The women who are actually aware of what's going on. They have some sense of the social, political landscape of Thailand. And it's almost like these passport bros go to these tourist destinations. They probably end up paying a sex worker for a night or a couple nights. And then they feel like that experience speaks to who Thai women are or what Brazilian women are like.
ชาติอ่ะเขาก็คงจะลบภาพยากเหมือนกันนะ
Foreigners may not be able to get rid of this image because it's already stored in their minds
ไทยคือ
that Thailand is a place
sexualism อะไร
for
เงี้ย
sex
แต่ว่า
tourism.
ถ้าให้
We
มา
should get
ทำ
rid
ทำ
of
ได้
sex
ก็ดีค่ะ
tourism.
ดังเพราะว่ามันไม่มีกฎระ
It's
เบียบด้วย
famous here because there's no
คื
regulation.
อมันไม่มีก
So
ฎระเบียบ
people do
ทำอะไรก็
whatever
ตาม
they
ใจ
want.
ฉันแล้วก็เคลีย
And
ร์ได้
money
มี
takes
เงิน
care
เค
of
ลียร์ได้หมด
everything.
คือตำรวจมีเอี่ยว
Police
ทุ
are
กบิสเน
involved
ส
in every business,
โดยบิสเนสที่เป็น
especially those
ดาร์ก
underground
หรือ
or
เก
gay
ย์
businesses.
เขาก็ไปเอี่ยวด้วย
The police
ก็
are
เพื่อเคลีย
connected
ร์
to
แล้วก็
them.
เงิ
They
น
can
จ่าย
just
ไป
pay
เค
off
ลี
the
ยร์
police.
คิดว่าบริการแบบ
Is this
เนี้ย
type of service
มัน
easy to
หาได้
find?
ง่ายไหมมันดูธรรมดาไหม
Is
ใน
it
ประเทศ
normal in
ไทย
Thailand?
หาได้ง่าย
Is
ไห
it
ม
easy to
ก็
find? It's
ง่าย
quite
ครับ
easy
ถ้า
now that
พู
you
ดถึง
mention
มัน
it.
ก็ง่ายอาบอบนวดถูกกฎห
Are
มาย
massage
ไว้
parlors legal?
ไม่ถูกไว้ครับ
Not legal, right? Are they legal? They are.
แล้วทำไมมันมีเยอะจั
Why
ง
are there so
ถ้าไม่
many?
ถูกมันจะ
If they're not legal,
จง
how can they
เปิดแจ้ง
operate
อย่าง
right in
นี้
the
ได้ไง
open? Right?
เข้าใจไหมบางทีคนเราแบบ
people
คนเราเป็นแฟนกันอย่างเงี้ย
think
เนาะ
it's
แต่แบบบริการ
satisfaction
ไม่ถึงใจ
can't get
แบบมันก็ต้องไป
satisfaction from the
ใช้บริการ
partner,
อ
so
ย่าง
they have to
นี้
use
เพื่อให้
the
มันแบบ
service
เฮ้ย
to
มัน
get
เข้า
that
ถึง
kind of
กว่า
satisfaction.
อะไรอย่าง
Something
เงี้
like
ย
that.
การบริการ
It's a
จั
service,
งหวะลี
rhythm,
ลาท่า
style,
ทาง
action,
ประสบการณ์ของแต่ละ
and
คน
person's
อะไรอย่างเงี้ยอาจจะทำให้
experience
เขา
that
แบบ
makes people
ช
want
อบ
this
ใช้
type
บ
of
ริการนี้
service.
ก็ได้
คิดว่ามันเป็น
As a local,
เราใน
how do
ฐานะ
you
คนไทย
feel
รู้
about
สึก
this
ยังไง
perception
รู้
in
สึก
Thailand?
ไม่ดีนะครับ
I feel
เพราะว่า
good because Thailand
ประ
should
เท
be
ศไทย
known for
ควร
other things.
มีชื่อด้านอื่นมากกว่า เช่นวัฒนธรรม
For example,
เรื่อง
culture
ศิล
or
ปะ
art
อะไรอย่าง
that's
เงี้ยที่
unique
เป็น
to
เอกลักษณ์
Thailand.
ของเราเองอะไรอย่างเงี้ยครับพวกการแสดง
Like
รำ
our
พวก
traditional
วัดอะไรอย่างเงี้ย
dance
ครับ
or
ไม่อยากให้
temples.
เขามองใน
I
เรื่อ
don't
ง
want them
นั้
to
นไป
focus
มากกว่า
only on
เรา
that.
ไม่โอเคแต่เราก็
I'm not okay with it,
เห
but
มือน
I'm
เราก็เป็นคนกลุ่ม
part of the
น้อยที่
minority
เราก็ไม่
that
สามารถ
can't do
ทำอะไร
anything
ได้
about it.
ต้นปีที่ผ่านมามันมี
Earlier
การท่อง
this
เที่ยว
year,
ประเทศไทย
Thailand's
เนี่ยเขา
tourism
ออกมา
body
บอกว่า
announced
ต่อไปนี้นะ
that
เขาจะ
that
แบ
going
น
forward,
เรื่อง
they
ของ
ban sex tourism.
sex tourism หรือการท่องเที่ยว
Or
เชิง
oppose
แบบ
any
ค้า
form
ป
of
ระเว
it.
ณีทุกอย่างเลยส่วนตัวคิดว่าจะทำ
You
ได้
think
จริ
it's
งไหม
possible?
และถ้าทำได้จริงจ
And
ริ
if
ง
it's possible, is
มัน
it a
ดี
good
ไหม
thing?
ส่วนตัวคิดว่า
Personally, I
ทำ
think
ไม่
it's
ได้
impossible.
แต่ถ้าทำได้
But if
จริง
so,
ดีไหม
it wouldn't be a
ก็
good
ไม่ดี
thing.
ต่อให้
Even if you
มัน
could get rid of it,
กำจัดไปได้หมด เขาก็ไปแอบ
people could
ซื้อ
still
ขายกัน
find
โด
ways
ย
to
ที่
pay
ไม่
for
ต้องให้
sex
ใคร
in
รู้
secret.
เขาก็ทำได้ซึ่ง
We should still
ซึ่ง
we
เรา
should
ควร
just
จะจัด
manage
ให้
it
มัน
systematically.
เป็นกิจจลักษณะไปเลยแบบเฮ้ยโซนนี้นะ
Zone
เป็น
an
โซน
area
ค้า
for
นะ
legal
ถูกกฎหมาย
prostitution.
นะถ้าทำ
And I actually agree with him. I think that when it comes to sex work, sex work is a valid occupation, but often has a problem is that because it is so heavily stigmatized, because it is illegal, there are no protections, there are no rights for these people as workers. There's no union support. There's no place where you can go if you are harassed by somebody who's a client of yours if it is illegal. Because you're afraid to go to the police because you are deemed as having a unethical, illegal job. So I definitely think that you should have it regulated. So that way, at least people can have accurate protocols to get tested. They actually, force their clients to make sure that they are protected and that they don't have any diseases, that the workers can get compensated fairly and in a way that isn't detrimental to them, and that they're not being exploited by their employer. So there's definitely a lot of reasons why it should be legal, but it should be heavily regulated to protect these workers. All right, now I want to go ahead and finish off with this article here. I totally won't be able to read the whole thing, but it's a pretty sad reminder of like what happens, like what is the damage that is being left by a lot of these men, because these men clearly are going to these places because first and foremost it is easier to access and pay for sex. Like I said before, a lot of the places that they target, Brazil, Philippines, Thailand, Ukraine, have well-known established sex tourism industries. And what a lot of these guys end up doing is they get women pregnant. And because they have this mindset, this greedy, selfish mindset of I gotta have mine, I have to do me, I have to have the control, they see these women as, well, you had a kid, that's your fault. That's your responsibility. I'm not going to be trapped by you. And so you have so many of these men who get these women pregnant and they just leave them. And they leave the kids. They want nothing to do with them. And there are generations of these fatherless children who are struggling because their dad got their mom pregnant and then left. Before I read this, let me go ahead and check out some of the comments. Can post the last one over here. All right, so let me go ahead and read a little bit over here. So this one's titled, Do You Ever Think About Me? The Children Sex Tourists Leave Behind. Their fathers visited the Philippines to buy sex. Now a generation of children want to track them down. Bridget Sakat will not be going to school today. She sits, knees to chest, in a faded Winnie the Pooh shirt, on the double mattress that makes up half her home. At night, she curls up here with her grandmother and 2 cousins, beneath the leaky seats of corrugated iron that pass for a roof. Today, the monsoon rain is constant, and the floor has turned to mud. Bridget, 10, and her 11-year-old cousin, Ariane, aren't in school because they have a stomach bug. There is no toilet and no running water and no means of cooking other than over an open fire. Even when she is well, Bridget is often too hungry to tackle the 10-minute walk to school. Bridget's mother is a sex worker, and Bridget knows that somewhere far away, in a barely imaginable but often thought of place called England, she has a father. She knows only his given name, Matthew. Asked what she would say to him, were she able to send him a message, Bridget is at first stumped for words. Then she bursts out in Tagalog. Who are you? Where are you? Do you ever think about me? Her grandmother, Juana, her fingers swollen with arthritis and suffering from a lack of medication for her diabetes, sits by her side. Juana, Ariane, Bridget, and Ariane's brother, Eris, survive on 200 pesos, which is equivalent to 3 euros a day, contributed by Ariane and Ari's father. He drives a jeepney, a public transport vehicle originally converted from jeeps abandoned by the US military. Juana, 61, tells me she thinks she may not live much longer, but she wants the girls to finish school to keep them from working in the bars. These are the slums of Angeles cities in the Philippines, and the children here represent a United Nations of parentage. Their faces tell that story. Fair skin, black skin, Korean features, Caucasian. That's because their fathers, like Bridget's, are sex tourists. You can see these slums on Google Earth, a tumble of rusted, corrugated iron, and rubbish dumps stretching from the streets down to the river. When you visit, it is the smell, like soured milk, that hits you first. Closer to the dump, it's more pungent. Here you will find the poorest of the poor, including the women too old for sex trade, earning what they can from combing through the fetid piles, looking for plastic and metals they can sell. There is the noise of motorbikes in rain and cocks crowing. The men hold cockfights nearby, the birds fighting to the death. It is illegal, but so is prostitution. The men who live here are construction workers, building the hotels that support the sex tourism industry, or drivers or security guards. The children run at their heels or in the gutters, or play a game involving throwing flip-flops at an old tin can. The mothers are often themselves the children of sex workers and foreigners without a name. These young children are a third generation abandoned by their fathers. Angeles City, 85 kilometers northwest of Manila, is hardly the only place in Asia with a sex tourism trade, but it is one of its centers. There are perky Facebook groups and dedicated websites that cater to the men who come here. Angeles City, they say, is a place where you can't help but get laid. The speciality of the town is the girlfriend experience, or GFE. You pay a woman to be your girlfriend for a day, a night, a week, or a month. This can include going on holidays to one of the beautiful resorts out of sight of Filipino poverty, or just staying at a client's hotel, meeting his every desire. This is how Bridget's mother, Isa, met Matthew, a regular visitor to the city's sex bars. He visited at least twice a year and often saw Isa. When, after a few visits during which he had been her regular, she told him she was pregnant. He said he had already paid for the sex. It was her fault she got pregnant. When Bridget was 2, the family heard that Matthew was in the area again and took her to see him at the bar he favored, but couldn't get inside. 2 years ago, the bar closed down. Since then, they have heard nothing from him. Meanwhile, Bridget's mother has abandoned her daughter to the care of her grandmother. The Spanish colonialists named this place Pueblo de los Angeles, or Town of the Angels. During the Vietnam War, it was the home of the Clark Air Base, then the largest American military facility outside the US. The base stayed open until 1991, when an eruption at Mount Pinatubo, the volcano looming 10 miles to the west, precipitated its closure. It is now a commercial airport and business center with call centers, hotels, and restaurants. According to the local Department of Tourism, more than 4.7 million foreigners come to the Philippines each year. Of these, 1.2 million are men who arrive on their own. Most numerous are tourists from Korea, the United States, China, and Australia. The UK is 9th on the list, closely followed by other European countries. In 2011, the then US ambassador to the Philippines, Harry Thomas, said at a conference that 40% of male tourists visited the country for sex alone. Philippine officials complained he couldn't back up the statistic and went on to apologize to the foreign secretary. But nobody who has been to Angeles City doubts that he was right. It is possible here to go for weeks without seeing a Western woman. It is all Filipino women and foreign men. On the blogs and social media sites that cater to them, the men who visit Angeles City discuss the experiences and share tips. On one, a man writes, "I never had problems with the women I brought back to the hotel. No ID check. I could bring in as many women as I wanted. Not a word was said when I would walk up with 2 or even 3 women at a time." Another man comments on the number of working girls who have children by their clients, or mongers as these men call them, short for whoremongers. I would say 40 to 50% of the working girls in AC had their first kid from a monger, either European, Australian, or American, and these mongers aren't supporting their kids, just left them. I don't know how you sleep at night. The man goes on to wryly acknowledge his own transgressions. I took an unopened box of 40 condoms with me to AC. I came home with an unopened box of 40 condoms. Whew. Now, I mean, this article is longer, and I will drop a link to the article if you want to go ahead and read the rest. But look, that's just one story of this dirtbag Matthew from England. And you have to think about how many men are going to these places from all over the world, not just the United States, not just white men. It's all type of dudes. And so much of it is founded off of, I mean, even in the article, they were talking about the link between, that particular area, Angeles City, which used to be a place, where Spanish colonists renamed that area. So there's a history of colonization, which was then converted over during the Vietnam War into an air base for the American military. And so you're talking about a presence of colonizers and military assholes who have been in this city exploiting these people, these young women, these children for generations. There is an industry, a very well-connected industry where now it's normal to just have a construction job where you are constructing the hotels and facilities that are housing the people who are part of the sex tourism industry. It is so fucking deep. And, going back to this idea of these fucking traditional men, like, I find it so ironic that a lot of them want this traditional lifestyle, this feminine woman who they can marry and be with, but so many of these dudes don't want to be traditional men. They don't want to be loyal husbands and fathers and people who want to be there for their loved ones. They don't want to actually be men. They don't want to man up. They just want to do them as selfishly, as ruthlessly, as no matter how disgusting they are willing to ruin people's lives, abandon people, get people pregnant, and they just don't care. And I just think it's so curious how all of this could be solved if these guys actually had the decency to look inwards and realize that they were the fucking problem. That people don't want to date them because they're a piece of shit. People don't want to date them because they don't have anything to offer. And instead of taking realistic approaches to fixing that, instead they want to just escape the country, find somebody who's making as little money as possible, who they know they can exploit, even if it means going through a very seedy or illegal industry, and just having their way.